Welcome to another episode of the Worst of the Best podcast. I'm your host, Ryan, and with me again, of course, is my brother, Jason. How you doing?
Good, brother.
All right, Jay, this is a fun topic, another fun topic. These are songs that almost never made it like on these artists' albums, but not only did they not almost make the albums, they were huge, huge hits for these bands. So these are hit songs that almost never made it big. As we go through the list, Jay, I'm going to give you a challenge. It's just a fun little challenge. There's no stress with your answer, but I'm curious what you think the count is. No, what the count is for YouTube. Because I curated the songs from YouTube. So I'm just like, what do you think the viewership is on these songs?
Oh, okay.
I'll give you one hint. One or more may have broken the $1 billion mark. So when you do a billion, you'd have to do like 1 point something is what I'm saying, or 3 point or 5, whatever you think it might be. I'm throwing out numbers there, but just when it comes to the billion guess, if you think it's in the billion area, you have to do, you can't just say, do 1 point or something. Okay. I'm excited to hear your answers because I was surprised by a few of them. I'll tell you which ones I was surprised by, how high some of these counts were or how low some of these counts were. What artists and musicians believe will resonate with the public doesn't always align with reality. Surprisingly, the tracks they least favor sometimes become massive successes. I think I have a theory behind that. This maybe doesn't necessarily align with some of these artists, although I think a couple of them do. We'll get to those. But it's almost, how shall I say this? I think it's because the song is maybe a good song and it doesn't really reflect the rest of their catalog, if that makes sense. So it's like the art, and that's fine. That's their art. That's what they're creating. But ironically, a song will eke out of their sessions as musicians and they'll be like, no, we shouldn't put this on here. We'll talk about some of those stories.
You're saying it's kind of not really their style in their wheelhouse or style or their.
And I would actually say, Jason, a lot of the songs on this list is kind of like that. Not all of them, but a lot of them are. And
I can think of one right off the top of my head.
I can think of one. Look at the list real quick. 2, actually 3. The public's tastes can be unpredictable, especially in the recording industry. Some songs defy all expectations, soaring up the charts and achieving lasting fame, even when everyone involved thought they would be forgotten or dismissed. In this list, we explore 10 such songs. These singles were so underrated by their creators that they almost didn't make it onto their albums. Yet, once released, they became runaway hits. Here are the stories of 10 unlikely hit singles that nearly didn't see the light of day. Now, what Jason and I are going to do today, folks, is we're going to tell you what we think is the worst pick of these songs. So, though all of these songs were, quite frankly, mega hits, and the YouTube numbers will indicate this, as just how many times these songs have just been listened to just on YouTube alone, let alone streaming, right? Streaming services and airwaves in general, depending on how old the song is. Heard by millions and billions of ears, some of these songs. We are going to pick what we think is the worst song. So if we had this playlist on our phone, Jay, if you had to listen to this in the car ride, which song are you like, no, just take it off. I don't want to hear it. That's probably the easiest way to do this. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good, a good way to pick the one that we don't want. So our preference of what one to keep off our playlist.
Keep it off our playlist. Okay. All right. Starting with song number 10, we have Radiohead. Have you ever heard of Radiohead, Jay?
Of course.
Are you familiar with them? Do you listen to them?
It's not a band that I would put in, but I appreciate when I do hear it, and I appreciate their talent and stuff. But it's not a band that I would regularly throw in, but it's also not a band that I would turn off.
And they've been around for a while. They were
a long time.
We forget that because they were obviously a band when we were teens, and we're now in our 40s or 50. So they've been around for quite some time. And we're going to talk about, of course, one of their first biggest hits, Creep. Was written by frontman Tom York when he was just 19 himself, and he was studying English and fine arts in college at the time. He felt stressed and isolated, channeling those emotions into his lyrics. So when it came to record their debut album, Pablo Honey, in 1993, 31 years ago, the band didn't think Creep fit their edgy image. In fact, they didn't even like the song. Guitarist Johnny Greenwood tried to sabotage it with a pre-chorus guitar riff he thought would ruin the track. Of course, we all know it, but I'll play it for our ears here. That guitar riff. But I'm a creep. I'm a trying to ruin the song, Jason, by
And you actually made it better.
exactly. I know that's the irony. It does make it better.
I love that sound.
It's actually the best part of the song.
Yeah.
However, college radio stations loved it, and soon American fans went crazy for the song. Creep climbed the charts in over a dozen countries, enjoying sustained radio play and record sales, particularly in the US, the United Kingdom, and Australia. Over the years, Thom Yorke and his bandmates have expressed their frustration with performing Creep at concerts, yet it remains a staple in their set list. Despite the band's initial reluctance and attempts to keep it under wraps, Creep became their biggest hit and launched them into international stardom. It's a catch-22, Jay, with the band became famous because of a big hit, and they have remained relevant and popular with their fans, and they sell out, and they've got many, many albums. And I kind of get it. The band's like, yes, but that song doesn't define their sound at all, or even their journey as musicians. But it's ironically, or for better for worse, I should say, it's the song that put them in superstardom stratosphere.
What I find interesting is like this you want to be a band. You make music, I guess, initially for yourself, but you also want to be heard. This reluctant, and most of, there's a couple other songs that will, at least one other band I can think of, they become popular based on a very strong single, but then there's this reluctancy to be popular, this weird dilemma. Don't you make music or become a band to be liked and listened to and appreciated? Maybe that's the sole reason, obviously, because there's a lot of people who just play music for the love of music. But I mean, when you're a band and you're creating music and you're releasing albums and singles, you want to be heard. I don't know. It's it's an interesting dilemma. But I guess if they don't feel that's really represents who they are, then maybe that's why they resist it, I suppose.
Jason, guesses on how many times that song was streamed on YouTube?
Probably about 90 million.
1 billion.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
I was off by a little.
Yeah, a little bit. That's okay.
I know that they're a big band.
Yeah.
But I don't know how many. It is a huge song, and it is a great song. It is legitimately a great song.
Obviously, it's been streamed 1 billion times. So when they go to a concert, you got to figure there's somebody there who loves that song. They're going to see the play live. And it's like, if you think about it, they bought your concert ticket. They probably bought your merch because those streams go to the band. Like, that's their avenue. They get the $1 billion streams. They own the rights to the music. So they're getting the money from those streams. So do you not play the song? Because you have to say kind of thank you guys that we are who we are because of the song. And now they're going to stick around people aren't going to leave after the song's over, but you kind of have to play it the same way one of our favorite bands on this list, Metallica, I'll say right now, the kind of hint coming up. I hate Enter Sandman. Like, I hate it. But I don't think they love it either in that sense. But they also know, hey, that was a big album for them. That was a big single from that album. So it's kind of like they kind of have to do it for the person that is coming because they became fans of Metallica because of that single.
I think another reason why this would get so many views now is a lot of people have done remakes of Creep. Yeah, covers, and some of these America's Got Talent or Britain's Got like some of those, what do you call those shows? With Simon Cowell.
Yeah, the talents with America's Got Talent and American Idol and
these Star Search type. Yeah, The Voice. I know that song has been used.
Okay.
A few times, and I bet people will go like, "Oh, that's cool," but I don't know. They might not even be familiar with the original, and then they go back and go, what is the original song that they're redoing? And that keeps Creep being relevant.
Yeah, interesting. All right, go off to a good discussion. All right, G, you got the next one.
Yeah, okay. Prince in his song Kiss. In the spring of 85, Prince was working on his album Parade at Sunset Sound Studios in Los Angeles. At the same time, a band called Maserati, formed by Prince's bassist Brown Mark, was also recording there. During their sessions, Maserati asked Prince if he had an extra song they could use. Prince quickly wrote and performed a 1-minute version of Kiss, recording it on a cheap tape recorder. Mark and a producer then developed the song's funk groove into the version we know today. When Prince heard their work, he was impressed and decided to reclaim the song, promising Brown Mark a songwriting credit. However, Warner Brothers initially refused to release Kiss as a single, considering it too minimalistic for the audience. Confident in the song's potential, Prince pushed for its release. His instincts were correct. Kiss soared to the top of the American charts, sold over 1 million copies, and even won a Grammy. I did not know that song won a Grammy. Did you?
I'm surprised.
Okay, yeah. I mean, of all the great songs,
it's a fun song. You can dance to it, right? If you're at a dance and they played it, sure, I'll dance.
Yeah. But the downside to this story is that Brown Mark never received the promised songwriting credit and eventually walked away from working with Prince.
Wow,
well, that was another mistake.
That was a yeah. It is weird because if you think about it, Prince did write the initial inspiration, but then yes, Mark Brown made it funky, I guess. We'll hear a little bit of that funkiness here. But look, Maserati was going to never make it popular the way Prince would.
No.
Even if you didn't get the writing credit, I would rather have a job working with Prince for the rest of my life.
Exactly. That's why I think that's another mistake. He made two mistakes, but I don't know who he is, and maybe he has a fantastic recording career outside of it. You know, he could be a great session musician.
Sure. If he's happier, he's happier. If he wasn't happy with that, then so be it. What do you think the views of this one, RJ?
Oh boy, I was so bad on that last one.
It's okay. Don't overthink it. Just go with your gut with each one.
110 million.
That's better. 74 million views.
I thought it was going to be lower, but
you don't have to be rich to be my girl. You don't have to be cool to rule my world. Ain't no particular sign I'm more compatible with. I just want your extra time and your kiss.
Anyways, it's a fun little ditty. It's harmless. Big song for Prince. Mark Brown or Brown Mark, sorry, Brown Mark. I know
it's weird. Why do you have a last name as a first name? First name is last name.
It sounds like something you find in your underwear. I don't know.
Oh boy.
All right. What are your thoughts on Prince as an artist? May he rest in peace.
He's phenomenal. He's a musical genius.
The Batman soundtrack. I googled this actually yesterday. I don't know why. I can't remember now. But his age. It's always funny to go back in time. Think of what were these artists' ages when they did these things. He was 31 when he did the Batman soundtrack.
Man. I was gonna say 35, but he was even younger.
He's 31.
That's crazy.
Oh, it's because I sent you that Instagram video of him slapping the bass there, laying down the track there of him on the bass. Did I send that to you?
No. If you had, I haven't seen it yet.
He's incredible. He could play everything.
He did play everything on that album.
On those albums. One of his band members from the Revolution band, Prince of Revolution, I don't know which one said it, but they said that he can play every instrument better than they can. Prince played everything better than the Revolution did.
Can I say one thing that has really frustrated me about his career? He did not highlight his guitar skills enough.
I wish he did like an old balls out rock.
Yes, rock album.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. It is weird. But it wasn't his thing. That wasn't his style. But when he did do,
it looks like when he plays live, and with other musicians, and they're all like these ensemble, they're doing one-off songs to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or something, and then he plays his guitar part. It's unbelievable. You're talking about that
when my guitar gently weeps.
Oh yeah, like that. Like it is phenomenal, and everybody else on the stage knows Prince is the one.
Totally agree with what you're saying. It's like because you and I, that's our wheelhouse. At the end of the rock and roll, hard rock,
more rock, yeah.
And so when we hear somebody like Prince, who just is a cool cat, and then he lays down these guitar licks, you're like, huh? You almost feel like what a waste, because he had his fans and he played the music that he wanted to play. But there's a part of you that wants him to play for your team. Like he wanted to recruit him. Hey, come to our team. Come play that music.
Yeah, Purple
His
Rain.
vocals are great too. I think the closest we got to that type of album was Purple Rain. I think that was his rock and roll album, like straight up rock.
Yeah. I want to see just hours of him playing his guitar. And what was great about that is him just, you don't see him smiling often.
Yeah, he was having fun. It was cool.
He was having fun. And I think he knew how cool he was.
Of course. Well, even the guys that were playing, of course, it was Tom Petty scene.
Yeah, Tom Petty.
Who's the guy that from Electronic
Jeff Lynne?
Yes, thank you. Boy, oh, rest in peace, all these guys.
Tom Petty and
That's
Prince
what I mean.
each other, and they both died.
I know. Oh, they're missing. I love Tom Petty. What a great guy. Boy. Anyways, this turned out to be the worst of the best of Dead Celebrity episode all of a sudden. Save that for January. Okay. All right, good stuff. Next one, Nirvana, another one from our youth, Jay. We've already, of course, given our mini episode on Nirvana's album. What was that? I forget what it was.
It was in front of U2's Achtung Baby.
Was it in front of Achtung Baby? So
yeah.
Go check out that episode, folks, if you want to hear our review of Nirvana's Nevermind.
A very quick review.
We actually played snippets from each track, and we did a quick Nevermind album review before the Achtung Baby review, which is one of our better episodes. Nirvana propelled grunge into the mainstream with Smells Like Teen Spirit, but frontman Kurt Cobain was so unimpressed with the song that he initially didn't want to release it. At the time, Cobain was heavily influenced by the Pixies and wanted to create a song that emulated their style to see if Nirvana could craft a pop-like arrangement that would appeal to the masses. They succeeded, but by the time the song was recorded, Cobain had lost interest and wanted to discard it. He said, quote, "I was basically trying to rip off the Pixies. When I heard the Pixies for the first time, I connected with that band so heavily that I should have been in that band, or at least in a Pixies cover band. We used their sense of dynamics, being soft and quiet, and then loud and hard," end quote. Despite Cobain's reservations, Smells Like Teen Spirit became obviously a massive hit, catapulting Nirvana to fame. However, the success brought Cobain unwanted attention and pressure, leading him to resent both the music industry and the constant demands from fans to play the song at every show. What I would have told Kurt is, why did you perform the video the way you did, so passionately or so with so much energy? Like, it's funny how he says this. Look, maybe he really felt conflicted about the success of the song, but the energy and emotion that he puts into the creation of the video doesn't tell me he felt the way he did about the song. If that, it seems very performative here. I don't know. What do you think? You know what I'm saying about that?
Yeah, I do. He was obviously, as later in his career, I don't think that was a feeling he had at the very beginning. I think that's a revisionist story.
Okay, fair enough, yeah.
I know he resisted all the fame, and I'm sure, like Izzy Stradlin, he just burnt out from it all, right? Like some people do. Yeah. It's overwhelming, and it's mentally draining. I get all that. And then you had drug addiction and everything else, probably a personality of depression, et cetera, et cetera. I think later became a conflict within himself, but initially, I don't know. I can't be in his head.
Well, he's certainly not anymore. Nothing can be. He emptied that out a long time ago. That's right. Is that 2 times in a row we've done a Kurt Cobain killing himself joke? I think there was another episode where that happened again.
Yeah, and that was unintentional, but people say things. I mean, he wants to be the resistant hero.
Sure.
The kind of the martyr in his own success.
It's the James Dean of grunge. He was just.
It's like, but the reality is that is the strongest song in the whole album. In
of itself, it's not a bad song. If you want to be objective about it, yes, I would say you had to pick 5 songs from that album that have to be one of the 5. Yeah,
and you'd have to pick what's the strongest song to be used as a single to promote your band and album.
It's accessible.
Yeah, that's right. It's accessible to most people. I mean, that's the song you would pick.
And so what do you think that
Objectively, the rest of the album's boring, really.
Yeah, don't spoil our review.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah.
Go check out our mini review of the Octune Baby episode of the feed. Go check it out. And at the beginning of that episode is our Nirvana review. How many views do you think this one?
I'm going to say probably 5 billion.
Okay, you're right.
I'm so bad.
No, it's funny though. Look, people are playing along at home. I would suspect people at home are going to be playing along, and they're going to be just as off as you are. But still, 1.9 billion.
See, that seemed underplayed. Creep has how many? 1 billion.
1 billion for Creep.
And Smells Like Teen Spirit. I mean, is as great as Creep is a phenomenal song. I would easily say a better song. And then Nirvana's impact, I don't know, it'd be at least more than double.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, 1.9 billion. I can't watch that video anymore without thinking of Weird Al's video version of that, because he lampooned that video to a T, where it's almost the exact same video, except for he would have hairy armpits under the cheerleader's arms. He had I can't talk all these marbles in my mouth line or something. He had marbles falling out of his mouth because he can't understand what Kurt Cobain's saying. So it was the Weird Al version of it. I almost think it's Weird Al doing the video sometimes. It's so close to the original.
And as much as I don't really care for the band at all, I mean, I remember being a fan for 3 months.
We did mention that, yes, we were. Look, it was a phenomenon when the album came out.
Especially that song, the way, like you say, the way that he performs the video, way Dave Grohl's pounding on the drums, et cetera, the whole kind of dark, the cinematography, the whole look, the vibe. It was a great look for MTV, for their band.
Yeah, and I was 16 at the time when this came out. This is right in that wheelhouse. Right. 16-year-old kid. Yeah, sure. I am a teenager.
You're kind of in that rebellion phase of life, and you're kind of like a little bit of angst or whatever. It fits our teenage years, but it faded quickly.
All right, Jake, the next one.
The Eurythmics' Sweet Dreams are made of this. Before the Eurythmics catapulted to fame, Annie Lennox and Dave Stewart faced tough times during an Australian tour in the early 1980s. With their prior band, The Tourists, the group broke up in a cheap motel. Not long after, Annie and Dave also ended their 3-year romantic relationship. Returning to the United Kingdom, they continued to play music together, though only to small crowds at some gigs. Their luck began to change when they took out a bank loan, bought new music gear, and started experimenting with synthesizers. One day, while Dave was messing around with the new technology, he stumbled upon a bass line and accidentally reversed it on their synthesizer. Annie immediately recognized its potential, and together they hammered out a song, and thus Sweet Dreams Are Made of This was born. However, record company executives hated it. The song lacked a traditional chorus, and they believed it would be poorly received. Undeterred, Dave and Annie shopped it around themselves. A radio DJ in Cleveland, Ohio, loved the song and began playing it. The call line lit up every night, and the other radio stations picked it up to attract their own listeners. With that, the Eurythmics were launched into the spotlight. Back in the day when radio stations mattered, when their impact and influence of playing or spinning a record or a single or a song that they come across could make a difference. Now you just hope you can get a viewership on YouTube or TikTok, or, you know what I mean? Like, out of a billion other people.
Yeah, interesting duo. I mean, do you have any history or feeling on the band in general? I mean,
I've always appreciated Annie Lennox. I didn't understand her and one guitarist as a duo. Like,
Dave Stewart,
the other musicians? Yeah, who are the other musicians? Were they an item? Weren't they? I heard they were, but then so obviously they were, which I knew, but I didn't know how long that lasted. I thought that they were during the Eurythmics, but obviously they weren't a couple. So it's an interesting duo.
She's 69, Annie Lennox, and he's 71. Their last studio album together was in 99. So, of course, they have a bit of band since then. I don't know if they've done any kind of engagements. I think they did the Rock Roll Hall of Fame ceremony in 2022. They were inducted to that. So, good for them. They have 8 studio albums together from 81 to 99. So, a strong little career. Yeah, I'm the same way. Annie Lennox and the Eurythmics, they've had some fun songs. We've enjoyed them. We danced to them. We weren't fans of the band. Like, I got to go buy their albums. But I don't think I've ever heard a song or listen to a performance from Anne where I'm like, oh, shut that off. I've never been bothered by them. I could say I could even enjoy some of their stuff. Oh, here's a little sampling here before we get to your guests. So listen to the song, Jay, and tell me What do you think the
Oh,
guesses
you're so
were?
wrong.
Well, this is fun though. I like hearing your guesses.
Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? I travel the world and the seven seas. Everybody's looking for something. Hold your head up, keep your head up, moving on. Hold your head up, moving on. Keep your head up, moving on. Hold your head up, moving on. Keep your head up, moving on. Hold your head up, moving on. Keep your head up.
That's interesting. They said there wasn't really a chorus. That is the chorus. I don't know what they're talking about. The radio execs.
I guess this is like a traditional chorus. Okay, so Dave Stewart is a guitarist. I
By
guess he's
trade.
an all-around musician,
Oh, probably.
but there's no guitaring in
That was
there.
very little. Let's just see if we can.
That's
find
what was
it.
always confusing about me about this duo.
He's the
Dave
guitarist.
Stewart, the
Yeah,
guitarist.
he's probably the music writer as well. Let me
Yeah.
yeah, because they were synth pop, new wave, dance rock was their genre. I bet you he probably did the keyboards but when you see pictures of him in concert, he's holding a guitar. Like he will play the guitar at the show. So it's a good song. We all know that one. Jay, what do you think the YouTube streaming count for that is?
35?
980 million. That's hilarious. Oh, this is good. This is fun.
I think it's going to be higher, but no, I'm going to be tricked. It's much lower.
It's fun because we get to hear your guess, but they'll get to hear the real answer, which is fun. So the audience is both entertained by your guesses and then informed by the real answer. Okay.
Yes.
All right. I got the next one. You ever heard of Michael Jackson? Billie Jean. Rest in peace to Michael.
Yeah, a couple times.
Yeah. Michael Jackson knew that Billie Jean was destined to be a hit. So he knew it from the moment he wrote it. The only problem was that producer Quincy Jones wasn't so sure. Despite his legendary ear for music, Jones found the demo for Billie Jean lacking. He particularly disliked the bass line and was concerned that the title would lead people to think the song was about tennis star Billie Jean King. However, Jackson was adamant that the song was perfect as it was, arguing that it made him want to dance and move and have the same effect on everyone else. Jones tried to compromise by suggesting a title change to Not My Lover, but Jackson again refused. In the end, Jackson's persistence paid off, and Jones allowed him to record the song as he wanted, keeping the original title. The result was, of course, a massive success. This story, Jason, highlights that sometimes even the most talented and experienced producers can misjudge the public's taste. So this was a case of the artist being totally on board for the song. So here's Michael saying, no. But as we know, Michael and Quincy were hand in hand with the production and writing of Thriller. So this is one where they did not agree on the song.
And mother always told me, be careful who you love, and be careful what you do. Cause the love becomes the truth. Hey, the Billie Jean's not my love. She just a girl that I am the one. But the kid is not my son. She says I am the one. But the kid is not my son.
When he steps on the sidewalk and the sidewalk lights up.
So take my strong advice. Just remember to always think twice. Don't think twice. She told my baby this.
Absolute talent. The guy, it's almost freaky how good he really was in his prime. Between the Bad album, and there was a great album songs even after Bad, but with Dangerous, there's some incredible songs.
Dangerous says,
Yeah.
yes.
Say from Thriller to Bad to Dangerous, and even some songs on the History albums are really good. So those 4 in a row. But the point is, this dude, despite all of his mental health issues, he was a victim of abuse. At the end of the day, we've said this before. He was a victim of abuse by his father. His father, I think he was a victim of sexual abuse, if not for sure physical, mental abuse, at the very least. And the fact that he was just the star that he was and the talent, the guy could sing and dance and write. He wrote his music. He performed his music. He danced his, like nobody could move. Like the way this kid moved, Jay. It's insane.
I know.
We're lucky that we're actually very lucky. You and I got to be young kids and fan. Like, it's kind of cool that we got to be a part of this, to see this. This was our Elvis, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. I've stumbled across a guy on YouTube who has some of the original tracks, and he breaks down how the songs are built up.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Like, he'll just pick just the layers of
the layers, yeah.
The layers and layers of thinking. And it's like you hear the one sound, they call it music or whatever, but it's like these synth sounds, these drum track sounds, these beats, these bass lines, and they're just like small little snippets, and you hear it just all on its own. And you're like, on its own, it means nothing. You don't hear anything almost from these little pieces. But the fact that they put all these pieces together that seem completely disjointed and then make these masterpieces, these mega hits.
Yeah, it's crazy how much is done.
Oh, and his vocal layers and just the small nuances in the way that he would breathe into the microphone, or just like the small, even making the percussion sounds himself vocally, like a kind of a beatbox. And then he incorporates his dance and his choreography and his vision of how it's supposed to be relayed to the public. And
yeah, he's incredible. In fact, I thought about more than thought about. I think we should tackle those two albums, Bad and Thriller. I think it'd be a fun one to cover on the show. Okay, Jay, I think you've got the next one.
Not long after their inception in 1988, the Smashing Pumpkins rose to fame and quickly became one of the defining bands of the 1990s rock. Their second album, Siamese Dream, brought them significant mainstream success, setting high expectations for their third album. Frontman Billy Corgan was eager to collaborate again with producer Mark Ellis, known as Flood, who had helped shape the band's distinctive sound. However, they hit a major snag with the single 1979. Corgan loved the song and had high hopes for it, but Flood was unimpressed and insisted that it needed a complete overhaul. He warned Corgan that if the song wasn't reworked to meet his standards, it would be cut from the album. Determined to keep the track, Corgan spent hours reworking 1979. After a few intense days, Flood finally approved the new version, and a hit was born. The song became one of the band's most iconic tracks, showcasing their ability to adapt and refine their music under pressure.
Now, before I play a snippet from the song, I forgot to ask you, Jay, what is Michael's Billie Jean count for his video?
4 billion?
1.6 billion.
1.6?
Mm-hmm.
Who is the 1.9 earlier? That was Creep.
No, Creep was 1 billion. It Smells Like Teen Spirit had more than Billie Jean. But you also have to keep in mind that, just to think of the generations too, like you and I are just old, right? So keep in mind some of the fans that will go back and listen to things. So it's tough to say. It also depends when this was uploaded. Like, this version could have been uploaded who knows when.
Right.
Oh, there you go. This was uploaded in 2009, so it's been there for 15 years. So, but again, this does not include record sales. Well, Thriller is the #1 selling album of all time. Before I played the Smashing Pumpkins 1979, how many do you think they had on their YouTube channel?
I'm going to say 300 million.
Close. 235. There you go. Okay, here's a little snippet from that song if any of our listeners are unfamiliar with it. All right, so what are your thoughts on the song overall? Of course, you know it, and feelings on 79.
I really like it.
It's got a funky groove, and that drum is the highlight. That weird, solid drumming throughout.
And the bass line, they kind of that clock sound.
Yeah.
And boy, does Billy Corgan look young there. Holy.
Well, we're getting old. We're getting.
I
old.
know. He looks like a baby. How old was he when this? Because they had a career when this came out. They were already.
Yeah, it's their third album. So it's their third album. So he was born in 67. So he's 57 this year, right?
What year was he born?
67. He's 57 now. That was the Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, right? Big album that came out in 95. So he would have been 28.
Wow. Like, what a career. And they've researched themselves. They've toured strongly for like the last 3 or so years. Oh, I've seen them several times and they're phenomenal.
Yeah, he's no slouch. He knows how to perform. Apparently, Billy bought a wrestling.
Yeah.
What a character. And he's got a podcast that talks about that journey as a wrestling owner, which is interesting. Okay, good for him. All right, so there you go. Yeah, I agree. It's a fun track. I've always enjoyed it ever since it came out. I'm not a Smashing Pumpkins fan, but they have enough good songs that if I were to see them live, like you had, I'm sure I'd have fun at the show. So,
have you not seen them live?
No, I have not seen them live.
Oh, I know I went with Ruben one. I think the Melancholy tour. Actually,
like they had a anniversary tour.
No, like when
back in the day.
Back in the day.
Yeah, I don't know why I missed that tour. I don't recall making the decision not to go. I just don't remember.
Revisit the album Gish. I know everybody talks about Siamese Dream, and for obvious reasons, I have a soft spot for that album. I remember going to, Woody's Lagoon. I remember playing that album there was one particular summer. I played that album full blast, my 1978 Ford Fiesta, going to go skimboarding at Woody's Lagoon. I would listen to that album with my 6x9 speakers, like taped or screwed onto the back of my car. Absolutely have fond memories of Siamese Dream, but I recommend going back to Gish. It sounds like it could be made yesterday, and it will blow you away. Yeah, so when I went to Death Valley, I was driving around Death Valley. I need to listen to some Siamese Dream. And then I was like, well, I haven't listened to Gish in a while. So I drove around Death Valley National Park listening to Gish as loud as my car could have it. And I was just in shock at how. So Smashing Pumpkins, phenomenally talented. Go back, revisit Gish, and you'll be blown away.
Okay, for sure. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I'd have to. All right, the next one, Jay, heard of Metallica? We've been fans, of course, since I was 11 years old. I've been listening to these guys. I'm now 48, soon to be 49. So I've been listening to them for a long time. Seen them live 6 times, 7 times if you include. I saw the same, that back-to-back show they did here in Montreal last summer. They did the 2 nights, no repeat setlist nights, was really cool. Look, they're still killing it, by the way, live. I don't know if you've seen any of their live performances on there.
I know.
Like, it's amazing. Good for James. He's healthy. He's clean. Lars is killing it. Kirk, of course, amazing lead guitarist. I feel like he's never talked about his lead guitarist. I mean, this guy. Anyways, I'm a huge Metallica fan. Can't help it. But Jay, they have a song that almost didn't make it to their to the fans or to the people. So Metallica, they always were a big band. But they kind of hit the mainstream with their 91 album, of course, the Black Album, self-titled. The inspiration for one of its standout tracks, though, was Nothing Else Matters, and it came during their 90 tour. Frontman James Hetfield wrote the song while on the road, deeply missing home and his girlfriend at the time. Despite his low expectations for the ballad, feeling it was too sentimental for a hard rock band like Metallica, James played it for Lars. Lars Ulrich was immediately impressed and insisted that Nothing Else Matters be included on the Black Album, which isn't surprising because Lars is forever the businessman. He knows how to sell. That's the thing people don't understand about Lars. I don't know why people crap on his drumming. It bugs me.
I don't understand. Yeah. Untrained ear is mine. I don't really hear the flaws.
But what are they looking for? I think they just do it because they are the biggest metal band in the world. And like, who sells more tickets than they do on tour worldwide for metal bands?
Oh yeah, not even close. It's not even close.
No, it's not. They were just in Germany the other night. They released some footage from their Germany show. Like Germany, it was just like the crowd was huge. It's insane. Lars he's actually the business guy of the band.
Yeah.
James is very shy by nature. James doesn't like to go out and promote and knock on doors and go to meetings. That was all Lars. Lars put them on the map. It was his business acumen that put them on the map. So he hears this song, of course, from James. Like, hey, man, this is gold. I'm going to put this out. And you know how young they were when they did the Black Album? I think we've talked about it. They were like 26 or 7 to 8. Like they were 27 to 8 years old when they did that album. That was their 5th album.
It's unbelievable.
Well, they were 18 for Kill 'Em All. So put it that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, we just talked about Smashing Pumpkins, 28 for Billy Corgan.
Yeah.
I mean, like these people were phenomenally talented, accomplished artists at such a young age.
Well, and that's why they are who they are. That's why they're Metallica or Smashing Pumpkins, because they nailed it at a young age.
Aerosmith. I mean, think of their debut album. Steven Tyler's 18.
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't he 18 when Dream On?
Close to it. I mean, they played their first show at a high school.
Recorded it.
Yeah.
It's like the LeBron James. You are well known before you even hit the NBA that you're going to be a legend.
Right.
Right? Like that's what separates. You're already amazing and accomplished at a very early age.
Despite Lars's enthusiasm for the song that James wrote, James was hesitant, arguing that Metallica needed to maintain their tough, aggressive image and that a sappy love song didn't fit. However, the band persisted and convinced him otherwise. So it's ironic that James wrote the song, but he was shy about putting this on the album.
Understandable.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he's the front man. He's the guy that's got to sing this quote-unquote ballady song. Reflecting on the decision years later, Hetfield acknowledged his initial doubts, saying, quote, I thought that Metallica could only be the 4 of us. These are songs about destroying things, headbanging, bleeding for the crowd, whatever it is. As long as it wasn't about chicks and fast cars, even though these are things that we like. This is a very famous quote. Have you heard this quote before? From
Not
James?
specifically, but I knew his sentiment.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Maybe you just knew the sentiment. But I always love that about Metallica. To their credit, they never sang about chicks and fast cars, even though that song's not about fast cars, but the idea that they never sang about, the glam metal type singing.
It's not the Motley Crue.
I love James. But what I love about this, he goes, as long as it wasn't about chicks and fast cars, but then he goes on to say, even though that's what we liked, they love those things. They just didn't sing about them. He goes on to say the song, though, was about a girlfriend at the time. And it turned out, it had turned out to be a pretty big song. Yeah. In the end, Nothing Else Matters became one of Metallica's most beloved and iconic tracks, demonstrating that even a hard rock band can successfully explore softer and more emotional themes. Look, I actually like this song. The Black Album is a conflicted album, even for me as a Metallica fan. There's many songs. It's one of the albums that has some songs I will never want to listen to again. We actually covered this. We won't get into it. Check it out. We did the whole Black Album review on our feed. So if you're listening to this and you want to hear our thoughts on the Black Album, we're not going to exhaust ourselves with that right now. So go check out that episode because we did the whole album, discussed the whole album. But for anyone that needs a reminder, I'm going to play my favorite part of the song.
Never cared for games they play. Never cared for what they do. Never cared for what they know. And I know, yeah.
Something that, to geek out a little bit, I can't help it. And I love Metallica. I watch every time they release a pro shot, and they spoil their fans. You go on their YouTube, they release pro shot after pro shot after pro shot of their tours. It's amazing how they spoil us fans. People forget how good of a lead guitarist and James is.
I was in this exact same thing. He does actually play quite a bit of lead.
He does. He has a different tone of sound than Kirk. You can tell the difference to the trained Metallica ear. But yeah, I've always loved Metallica. I have nothing bad to say about them. I can't help it. I'm sorry. They are the band who they are for a good reason, and I love their stuff. So yeah, this is my worst pick. No, I'm joking. Anyways. All right, Jay, you got the next one?
Am I going to guess how many views?
Oh yeah, how many views do you think this one did on YouTube?
872 million.
It's high, 1.4 billion or 1.3 billion.
I was going to say a billion, but it's like, maybe it's going to be one of those weird, not cool. Okay.
I think I remember when they announced on their Facebook or something when they hit a billion on YouTube for the song. So
what I liked about that little clip that you played, they have a couple other songs like like the Outlaw, Torn,
Mhm.
that has that same sound, or the Bleeding of Me.
Oh yeah, those
The
are
same kind of like the way it goes into the hard parts, or what's that song? Hero of the Day.
Mm-hmm. Fixer.
That very similar kind of a little bit of, not that they're ballads, they're not ballads. I'm not saying they're ballads, but the way that he goes into the aggressive part and that guitar sound, the guitar tone. So clearly that would be my favorite part of that song too. I like that build up. And I like the fact he was wearing the Four Horsemen t-shirt.
Oh yeah. Was that the band, the Four Horsemen?
Yeah, the Four Horsemen.
They were
I'm
that
guessing it was-
album. That album
I
was
know.
amazing. He died, the singer. That's what happened.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, he died shortly after the making of that album. I think it was alcoholism. I think
Oh,
that's a wicked album.
yeah.
All right, Jay, you got the next one.
Okay, here's another band you might be familiar with. The Rolling Stones' iconic track, I Can't Get No Satisfaction, was nearly never released. One night, Keith Richards woke up with an 8-note riff in his head. He grabbed his guitar, turned on a cassette recorder, and played the riff before going back to sleep. The next day, when he played the recording for his bandmates, it included more than a half hour of his snoring. Richards thought the riff was weak and considered it a potential album filler at best. However, the rest of the band recognized its brilliance and insisted it be made into a single. Despite Richards' reservations about its simplicity, the band pressed forward. Their instincts proved correct. Satisfaction became a massive hit, cementing its place as one of the songs that propelled the Rolling Stones to legendary status in the rock world.
Do you want to guess how many views?
600 million?
165 million. Now, granted, they don't, for their YouTube, it is their official YouTube video, but it was released 8 years ago, but not bad for a band that's been around for 300 years. Can you believe Mick Jagger at 80 is still performing live on stage, Jay?
Oh, it's unbelievable. I saw him a few years ago. Unbelievable.
That's cool. You got to see him live. A band I would love to see live. Just
very, very thankful.
Cool. Very cool. Yeah, it's a great song. Let's check out a little snippet of the song, shall we?
I can't get no satisfaction. I can't get no satisfaction. 'Cause I tried, and I tried, and I tried, and I tried. I can't get no. I can't get no. When I'm driving in my car.
That's a great line there. Listening to the radio to get some useless information. It's a good thing nowadays the mainstream media gives us the proper information. That's good. Things have changed since.
It's actually, I know. I was like, wow, that's pretty insightful for the 60s.
It just goes to show you that even back then they knew their. Yeah, I mean, this is a great song. Rolling Stones. There's nothing bad you can say about them. I mean, they have stood the test of time. They're still selling out everywhere they go.
Unbelievable.
They keep going. It's insane. Their age was made fun of 35 years ago on Saturday Night Live and stuff. It's so weird.
I want to say something. When I saw them 5 years ago, the first time I heard Keith guitar tone, like it was a spiritual experience.
Oh, cool.
His guitar's tone, and I went with my son Ethan, and we just looked at each other. Like that his sound was amazing live, especially on his Gibson Les Paul Jr. Had a particular just sound that resonated from it. It's hard to describe. Phenomenal experience.
That's cool.
So yeah, they have the magic. They definitely have the magic.
Oh yeah. All right, we got some John Mellencamp, or at the time this song came out, it was John Cougar Mellencamp. Jack and Diane, chart topping hit, of course, but this one almost never saw the light of day. And if Mellencamp had stuck to his original vision, it wouldn't have. Originally, he intended the song to portray an interracial couple, with Jack being African American. However, when he presented the song to the radio company in 1982, they expressed concerns about the controversial subject matter. Mellencamp resisted the request to change Jack's character, explaining that the song was meant to explore race relations. After much debate, And being young and facing pressure, Mellencamp reluctantly agreed to alter Jack to a football star, making him more of a conventional character. But the decision paid off commercially, as Jack and Diane became a huge hit for the public. However, it leads us to wonder if the song would have had the same impact had Mellencamp been able to realize his original vision. So this one's kind of tricky because he did have a different vision for Jack as a character, but the record company pushed back a little bit and he said, fine, I'll change the character. Interesting that he was much younger back then too, but
if that's the story, I mean, who's to know? It changes the vibe of the story, that's for sure. I mean, a lot of songs are relationship songs, love songs, which is a lot more relatable to the general public, or at least easier to hold on to emotionally.
Let's hear a little ditty of Jack and Diane. Did you also hear about John Mellencamp storming off stage after being heckled by somebody?
Oh yeah, he's been heckled a few times. I think he's actually stormed off this.
I want to show you a clip of that after this song, though.
Okay.
Life goes on long after the thrill of living is gone. So let it rock, let it roll, let the Bible Belt come and save my soul. Hold on to 16 as long as you can. Changes come around real soon, make us women and men.
It's an interesting ditty of a song itself. And John Mellencamp's always been an interesting character to me. He's kind of like if Bruce and John Bon Jovi had a love child and it was semi-autistic.
If it wasn't for the song, we wouldn't be talking about him.
It's a big hit. Well, it's a big hit for him. That's just it. You're right. This is a song that you could say propelled his stardom as an artist. And he's been able
regardless of the origin stories,
right,
of where the song, how the song came together. Or
he's had some other songs too, but yeah, he's certainly not. I mean, he's had a career. He should be happy about it. But yeah, I've never been a huge fan. Again, the songs that I hear from him when I hear them on the radio, I'm never offended. I don't have to rush to turn it off, but I don't ever own any of his own stuff.
When I'm talking to Jesus. And then it got real quiet. What do you think I've been doing, you cocksucker? Now, here's the thing, man. You don't know me. You don't fucking know me. Hey, Joe, find this guy and let me see him after the show. Anyway, before I was so rudely interrupted, guys, I can stop this show right now and just go home. Tell you what I'm going to do. Since you've been so wonderful, I'm going to cut about 10 songs out of the show. Here we go. You know what? Show's over.
He walked off. That was it. I have mixed feelings on it. He's been in this business a long time, and part of me, the crowd heckling, going to tell those stories. You don't have to agree with it, whatever. Every artist kind of does this, from Bruce onward, Pearl Jam. They'll tell little stories.
Bono sure takes the wind out of the sails whatever time he talks.
Am I bugging you? Well, I don't mean to bug you.
Am I bugging you? I don't mean to bug you.
But that being said, I just sit there, whatever. I would never be the heckler. It's not my nature.
No,
yeah.
So I actually watched The Killers one year, and some guy kept on yelling to play a particular song. I can't remember the song. And Brandon Flowers was pissed. He stopped and addressed the person. He says, now I won't play that song. I'm not going to play that song.
That gets irritating.
Thanks to you. You take the wind out of the sails of the whole, like John Mellencamp, he's riffing. He thinks he's having a good, interaction. It's a pretty bare, stripped down stage and stripped down show, more intimate, interactive type of scenario. And you get some guy just barking at you. You're the person that you're trying to share your life, your stories, your experiences. And you think that these people are fans of yours, that they would listen, that they're there to listen. To be honest, maybe afterwards he's like, you know what? I can't get back into it. It just,
Right.
I can't get back into the fake vibe of me enjoying myself.
It's going to seem like he gave into a terrorist. So because they're playing the songs, like, now every time they go to a show, people say, hey, if you keep yelling, they're going to play a song. But no, because you're being such a dick about it, we're not going to play that song now. Like we were going to, but you've ruined the moment of us going to, because it seems like we're playing it because you kept yelling at us to play it. Maybe.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And or if he felt whatever that was, that exchange, he's
Sure,
like, now I'm faking the rest of the show because I'm just like taking the spirit away from this whole experience.
Oh, what are your guesses on that John Cougar Mellencamp streaming?
45 million?
No, pretty good. 30. There you go.
Mm.
There you go. All right. You got the last one there, Jay.
Ooh,
excuse me. You got the last one
favorite.
there, Jay.
Taylor Swift faced resistance from studio heads at Big Machine when she insisted on including Shake It Off on her fifth album, 1989. They felt the track deviated too much from her country roots and its pop sound, and they disliked everything from the album artwork to the title of the single. Despite their objections, Taylor Swift persisted, confident in the song's potential. Her determination paid off when Shake It Off skyrocketed to number 1 on the Billboard US Hot 100 chart. It also topped charts in numerous other countries, solidifying its status as a global hit. In the end, Big Machine's decision to trust Taylor Swift's instincts proved successful, demonstrating her ability to navigate and shape her own musical identity and remarkable success. I am a fan of Taylor for the most part. It's a guilty pleasure, all right? It's a guilty pleasure.
I actually know she's big. She's big at our house. I mean, Becky and Madison listen to her so much. I'm very familiar with a lot of her songs. She's very talented, and she's all these things. She's the biggest artist in the world, and so anyone that goes with anything, when you're big and popular, there's all these artists that we talked about. There's people that don't like them. In the bigger you are, you just got more people that don't like you because she has billions that do. But that being said, we all know the song. Personally, it's not one of my favorite songs of hers. I find it quite boring.
As a fan, it's a little bit out of my wheelhouse. I do appreciate it, and I do have a Taylor Swift mix. I sometimes in quiet moments or whatever, and I do listen to her songs, but I do not like this song.
No, I'm not a big fan of the song, but my 10-year-old daughter loves it. It's for them. It's for the
interesting. Yeah, I think it is a weak song.
What's your view count on this one?
2 billion?
Higher.
Oh, it's going to be crazy high.
3.4 billion. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, how much a billion is?
Oh, I know.
And then she's got 3 of those, 3.5 of those, just for one song. Okay, it's a little snippet for anyone in the audience who might not know it.
Stop, won't stop grooving. It's like I got this music in my mind saying it's gonna be alright. 'Cause the player's gonna play. And the haters gonna hate, baby. I'm just gonna shake. Shake it off. Heartbreaker's gonna break. And the faker's gonna fake, baby. I'm just gonna shake. I shake it off. I shake it off.
I can't wait for the football album. It's going to come out when they break up. That's going to be a good one.
That's the first time I've ever seen a snippet of that video.
I've never seen the video either. There's a lot of butt shaking going on. There you go, folks. Those are 10 songs that almost never made it, became hits. So quickly here: Creep, Kiss, Smells Like Teen Spirit, Sweet Dreams, Billie Jean, 1979, Nothing Else Matters, I Can't Get No Satisfaction, Jack and Diane, Shake It Off. Jason, you've got this 10-song set list in your car. Permission granted to get rid of one of the songs. Which one do you get rid of?
It's going to have to be Jack and Diane.
It has to be Jack. Wow, poor John. He might storm off the stage after he hears that comment.
Oh no, I won't be at the show to see it.
I love how he's at these venues where he's able to have these conversations with the crowd. Metallica or Taylor, they can't have conversations like they're just too far. It's too big. They're not hearing these intimate conversations with people in the crowd. Hey, play this song. James can't hear that from where he's standing. Well, I have a pick too. It's not actually not Jack and Diane. It's a song that you like more than I thought. I was surprised. I didn't want to say it during the recording because I didn't want to spoil any of the conversation over my answer. Radiohead's Creep.
What?
I don't like it at all. I've never liked
Ye-
it. I'm so bored by it. Put it this way, I'm with Tom. I'm with Tom.
But we're
I
talking
like that-
about compared
I-
to the other 10 or the other 9.
Honestly, Jason, I could listen to Jack and Diane. At least it keeps moving. There's a beat going throughout. I find Creep boring. I don't like the pre-chorus stuff. It's boring. It's boring. It's too slow. I don't like it. I haven't liked it for decades. Like when I was a teenager,
I'm not saying it's the
No,
greatest.
I know.
I'm comparing it to
talking-
Jack and Diane.
I would rather listen to Jack and Diane. I'm not even joking. I'm not even. doing this for
I
a
think
bit.
what it is for me about Jack and Diane also is I've heard it on the radio a billion times. When you hear John Cougar Mellencamp, it's like one of 2 songs. So for
I
me,
feel the
that's-
same way about Creep. Everything you're saying,
Yeah,
I
that's
feel the way
true.
about Creep.
That's true too.
I just really don't like that song. I'd be hard pressed to find another top 10 list of songs that were big because of happy accidents. It'd be interesting to see which song would knock off Creep, if that makes sense. That's how much I hate that song.
Wow. Okay. That's interesting. Cool.
All right, guys, this was a fun discussion. I hope everyone enjoyed this episode. A lot of fun to do. And remember, in front of every silver lining, there's a cloud. And today for Jason, it was Jack and Diane. And for Ryan, it was Creep.